So I played the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined demo and I found myself immersed in its world building. The main thing I loved about it is definitely the characters, storytelling, and atmosphere. Hey, it's Zabuu, and I welcome you to my channel where we talk about all things RPGs. So if you're interested in RPG news, theories, and deep dives, hit that subscribe button. Our goal is to reach 500 subs by the end of the summer and grow our community. But yeah, let's talk about this demo real quick. The demo starts off in your classic JRPG fashion as you play the hero, a young fisherman's son yearning to discover what lies beyond the island of Estrad. So the demo starts off and you immediately get Mabel and Kiefer joining your party, and I really like the character of Mabel. She's this snobbish, grumpy character who's very upfront about her thoughts and feelings, but underneath you can tell she has a soft heart. She does care for the party and she does care for Hiro, but she sees him more as a lackey or an underling to herself. She sees herself as the boss, the girl boss in my opinion. She's fierce and hard-headed, but I feel like it's needed to kind of keep the guys in check. All in all, I feel like she's a well-written character that brings this seriousness to the group that's very much needed. Then we have Kiefer, probably the most interesting character in my opinion. Kiefer is the prince of the kingdom of Estrad. He's the best friend to the hero, which is conveyed through some really great banter between the two. Kiefer doesn't really care about his status as the prince or even his place in the kingdom as the next king. He's all about exploring and adventure, and he has this sense of camaraderie for his teams and friends, but at some time you can tell that Kiefer is very much like a free spirit and does his own thing. He can tend to forget what the goal is sometimes, but when driven he's really headstrong about whatever he's trying to achieve. In my opinion, the trio works really well together. You have Mabel's stubbornness that kind of makes up for Kiefer and the hero's nonchalant attitude towards things, which really makes for some interesting storytelling later on. Now, speaking of story, the main storyline in the demo revolves around finding these stones that unlock new areas and islands. Each area, I'm assuming, has a story of its own where our adventures take part in. The story of the first island had me hooked the moment I experienced it. By the way, from this point onward, spoilers ahead because we're going to talk about the story of the first island, so anyone that wants to experience that story for themselves, please use the timestamp to go further into the video and check out the rest of the video, but we're going to talk about the story of that first island now. Our characters find a stone tablet and get teleported to another island away from Estrad. Unlike their home, this island has monsters everywhere, and they end up getting ambushed and are saved by a girl clad in armor. Her name is Maeve. Our heroes then learn from Maeve that the monsters have taken the children and women of Ballymaloy village, and they demand that the village be torn apart or the men won't see their loved ones again. Interesting enough, when our heroes go into the village, they learn that there once was a hero named Malloy who went into the monster's lair to protect the village and asked the villagers to aid him in battle. However, due to their cowardice, the villagers never came to help the hero Malloy, and he passed away, leaving his sister to mourn his death. And instead of helping him, the villagers decide to name the village after him to honor his death, which I think is kind of like a slap in the face if you think about it. They could have saved his life, and instead they're like, we're just gonna name the village after him, which kind of sucks. So after hearing this story, the party decided to go into the monster's lair to rescue the women and children. The party goes to confront the monsters, and you find that the monsters are taking orders from someone else, and then find out that that person's actually Maeve. She's the one who's been taking the women and children as revenge for her brother's death, as the village failed to aid him when he went to fight the monsters at their lair. We learn that Maeve goes to help him, but it's too late, and she starts plotting her revenge against the village, turning into this pink fright knight. Unfortunately, her story ends tragically, as you have to defeat her to save the women and children of the village. A bitter moment that provides reflection on grief, corruption, and the consequences of cowardice. It's these intricate plot lines and themes that really got me hooked. This storyline alone had me hyped for what's to come. I found the pacing and storytelling to be really well done. At no point in the game did it feel like I was wasting time completing fetch quests. The game didn't feel grindy, nor did any of the battles interrupt the flow of the story because there are no random encounters in this game. It's completely up to the player if they want to fight enemies or just skip over them. There are also some enemies who you can preemptively kill without entering battle if your character's levels are well above the enemies. Other quality of life changes included speeding up or slowing down the battle speed, as well as enabling auto battle to make it easier to grind for resources or levels. The game also lets players customize aspects of the game's difficulty. The player controls how and what type of difficulty they will experience. Players can set how much experience and resources they gain, as well as battle difficulty. This detailed difficulty customization allows the player to tune their experience of the game, but also could allow for some interesting playthroughs. And when I say interesting playthroughs, I mean you can technically do a no resources playthrough, no EXP playthrough, things like that, just to spice things up. The character models and art direction stand out the most in the game. Art direction is not overly cartoonish, but also not too realistic. It reminds me of the 2019 Link's Awakening that came out for the Switch. The enemies do come across as cute at times, but there are definitely some enemies that look more creepy than cute in this art style. Character models look great. From my understanding, the characters were scanned into the game using handcrafted real-life dolls. All the characters look amazing except for maybe Kiefer. His model looks kind of weird. He's got this big head and small body, and he looks kind of goofy, so it's hard to take him seriously at times. These are the original designs by Akira Toriyama, so I have to give him props for creating characters who still stand the test of time. The art style fits the themes of the game, ranging from light-hearted themes such as friendship, family, and longing for freedom and adventure, to really dark themes centering around death, betrayal, and facing adversity. If the story for the remaining islands is anything like this first island, then I'm definitely interested to see what kind of adventure our characters face, what kind of adversity they have to go through, and what changes they make as characters themselves. Now lastly, the music in the demo is great. It's just what you'd expect from a Dragon Quest game, with a lot of brass and a lot of trumpets. And although I'm not a huge fan of the brass and trumpets, I feel like Dragon Quest VII Reimagined kind of tones it down a little bit, which is great for me because I'm just not a huge fan of all the brass. But if you are, then let me know down in the comments below why you like the music of Dragon Quest. I don't like it too much because it sounds like a bunch of farts, but hey, that's just my opinion, you know, what do I know? But yeah, overall the demo was great, the characters are interesting, and the story is captivating. I feel like for many this is going to be a great introduction to Dragon Quest if they haven't already played anything previously, or even the HD 3D remakes that came out recently. I, for one, have memories from Dragon Quest XI, and I feel like this game is definitely going to scratch that itch. I've been waiting for this game to release for a pretty long time, and I'm glad it's releasing this month. But yeah, I want to know from you guys, what's your opinion on the demo? What's your opinion on the franchise as a whole? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you guys have ever played Dragon Quest, or what Dragon Quest games have you played? Also, which of the Dragon Quest games that's come out so far is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.